All right, let's dive in. We're about to take this incredible journey through a network that's literally inside every single one of us. Think of it like a biological superhighway, working nonstop 24/7 just to keep you alive and kicking.
Okay, so let me start with a question that might just blow your mind. What if I told you there's a delivery system inside your body right now that's 60,000 miles long? Seriously, if you could stretch it all out, it would wrap around the entire Earth more than twice. Any idea what I'm talking about?
You got it. We're talking about your vascular system. The fancy term for how this whole network gets built and distributed is vascularization. But really, you can just think of it as your body's own personal delivery service. It's this amazing logistics company that delivers all the good stuff, like oxygen and nutrients, and just as crucially, it takes out the trash.
So, where does our journey begin? Well, we're starting at the central warehouse, your heart, and hitting the main delivery route. First up, the arterial network.
The best way to picture your arteries is as this massive, perfectly designed highway system. The blood starts out on these huge elastic arteries, like the aorta. Those are your main interstates. Then it flows into smaller, muscular arteries. Think of those as the regional roads that take you to a specific state or city. And finally, it all branches into these tiny little arterioles, which are like the local streets that deliver right to the doorstep of every single cell. It's just a brilliant design for efficiency.
So, what makes these highways so tough and resilient? Well, it's all about their structure. They're built with 3 distinct layers. That innermost one, the tunica intima, is super smooth, so blood just glides right through without any friction. Then you have the middle layer, the tunica media, which is the muscle. It's what lets the vessel expand and contract, controlling your blood pressure. And on the outside, there's the tunica adventitia. That's the tough, protective coating. Put them all together, and you get something that's both incredibly strong and super flexible.
Okay, so we've traveled the interstates and the local streets, and now we've arrived at our destination. This is the capillary exchange zone, and folks, this is where the real magic happens.
So welcome. These capillaries are absolutely tiny. I mean, they're so narrow that red blood cells have to line up, single file, just to squeeze through. But that slowdown is on purpose. It's absolutely critical, because this is where the exchange happens. It's the drop-off point for oxygen and nutrients, and the pickup point for all the waste products like carbon dioxide.
Now here's what's really cool. Not all of these exchange zones are the same. Their design is perfectly tailored to their job. You've got continuous capillaries, which are really tightly sealed. You find those in places like your muscles and lungs where you need tight control. Then there are fenestrated ones, which basically means they're full of little pores, perfect for places like your kidneys where you need super fast filtering. And then you have the sinusoidal type, which have these huge gaps, big enough for whole cells to pass through. You see those in the liver and spleen. It's a perfect case of form-fitting function.
All right, delivery's done, trash is collected, time to head back to headquarters, and this return journey is handled by 2 systems working together, the veins and the lymphatics.
So what's the big difference on the trip back? Well, it all comes down to pressure. Arteries have these thick muscular walls because they have to handle the powerful blast of blood coming straight from the heart. But veins? They're a low-pressure system. Their walls are way thinner, but they have the secret weapon that arteries don't have: tiny one-way valves. These are absolutely crucial for stopping gravity from pulling the blood right back down.
And get this, it's a pretty wild fact. Your veins aren't just pipes for the return trip. They're actually the body's main blood reservoir. At any given moment, something like 2/3 of all your blood is just kind of hanging out in your veins, ready to go if your body suddenly needs an extra boost in circulation.
Now, we can't forget the other key player on the way back home, the lymphatic system. This is basically the system's dedicated cleanup crew. It runs alongside the veins, mopping up any extra fluid that leaks out, filtering it for germs, and then dumping the clean fluid right back into the venous system. Super important for both fluid balance and, of course, your immune system.
Okay, so this whole superhighway system is amazing, right? But just like any real highway, sometimes you get traffic jams. So what happens when things go wrong?
Well, the good news is our body has a backup plan. It's called collateral circulation. You can think of it as the body's own version of a traffic app. If a main road gets blocked, it can actually open up smaller side streets and reroute the blood. It's a natural bypass system, our very own built-in detours.
But sometimes, those detours just can't handle all the traffic. When a part of your body isn't getting enough blood, that's a condition called ischemia. The highway analogy works perfectly here. It's like a temporary lane closure. You've definitely felt this before. It's that pins and needles feeling when your arm or foot falls asleep. But what happens if that lane closure turns into a complete, permanent roadblock? Now we're talking about something way more serious. This is an infarction, and that's when tissue actually starts to die because it's been totally cut off from its blood supply. This is exactly what happens during a heart attack or a stroke.
And it's not just blockages we have to worry about. Sometimes the road itself can fail. That's what an aneurysm is. It's like a giant, dangerous pothole, a weak spot in the artery wall that starts to bulge out. And if that pothole bursts, well, that can cause really dangerous internal bleeding.
And hey, traffic jams aren't just an artery problem. They can happen on the return trip too. Remember those little one-way valves we talked about inside the veins? Well, if they start to fail, blood can start flowing backward and pooling. And that traffic backup is what causes veins to get all swollen and twisted. We know them as varicose veins.
So when you think about it, this whole 60,000-mile network, all these highways, local roads, and exchange zones, is working for you right this second. Which brings us to one last question for you to think about. Now that you know about this incredible journey your blood is on, every single minute of every day, what's one choice you can make to help keep all that traffic flowing nice and smooth?